Yashodanandana Prajatanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachachari Jaya Radhama Bhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Dayan Naskritya Naram Chayin Narotamam Devim Saraswati Yasam Tatojayamudiyarayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the merry means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance, personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narendarayan the Rishi, supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavat yuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Magyānatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with torchlight. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Today we're looking at Canto 7, Chapter 15, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. Okay, I guess that cancels us all out. I'm just joking. What verse are we at? Purpose or verses?
Starting this chapter, so 1 to 11.
1 to 11, okay. 1 11. 1 1 1 1. Okay, here we go. Everyone ready? Narada Muni continued, my dear king, some brahmanas are very much attached to fruitive activities. Some are attached to austerity and some penances. And still others study the Vedic literature, whereas some, although very few, cultivate knowledge and practice different yogas, especially Bhakti yoga. Text. The God wished for his forefathers or himself should give charity to the Brahman who adheres to impersonal monism, Jnananishta. In the absence of such an advanced Brahmana, charity may be given to a Brahmana addicted to fruitive activities, karma kama. One should invite only 2 Brahmanas. While offering oblations to the forefathers, one may invite 3 Brahmanas. Or in either case, only 1 Brahmana will suffice. Even though one is very important, you should not endeavor to invite more Brahmins or make various expensive arrangements on those occasions. If one arranges to feed many Brahmins or relatives during the Shraddha ceremony, there will be discrepancies in the time, place, or expectability and ingredients, the person to be worshipped, and the method of offering worship. When one gets the opportunity of a suitable, auspicious time and place, one should, with love, offer food prepared with ghee to the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then offer the prasad to a suitable person, a Vaishnava or Brahmana. This will be the cause of everlasting perpetuity. One should offer prasad to the demigods, the saintly persons, one's forefathers, the people in general, one's family members, one's relatives, and one's friends, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A person fully aware of religious principles should never offer anything like meat, eggs, or fish in the Shraddha ceremony. And even if one is a Kshatriya, he himself should not eat such things. And suitable food prepared with ghee is offered to saintly persons. The function is pleasing to the forefathers, the Supreme Lord, who are never pleased when animals are killed in the name of sacrifice. Persons who advance are advised to give up all envy of other living entities, whether in relationship with the body, words, or mind. There is no religion superior to this. Because of an awakening of spiritual knowledge, those who are intelligent in regard to sacrifice, who are actually aware of religious principles, and who are free from material desires, control the self, or knowledge of the absolute truth. They may give up the process of ritualistic ceremonies. Upon seeing the person engaged in performing the sacrifice, animals meant to be sacrificed are extremely afraid, thinking it's merciful form of sacrifices, being ignorant of the purpose of sacrifice, and being most satisfied by killing others, will surely kill us. Do we do it? Do you still do it though? Is that? I want to ask him, what you do? Okay. Therefore, day by day, one who is actually aware of religious principles and is heinously envious of poor animals should happily perform daily sacrifices, and those for certain occasions with whatever food available, easily by the grace of the Lord. Harikol. Good. Hare Krishna, everyone. We'll look at text 11 then in greater detail.
I think Maharaj will looking at text 6.
Okay. Devarshi Pitri Bhutebhya Atmane Swajanaya Cha Anang Sam Vibhajan Pashyat Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam
Devarshi Putra Bhutebhya
Atmane Swajanaya Cha
Annam Sam Vibhajan Pashyat
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam
Devarshi Pitribhutebhya
Atmane Swajanaya Cha
Atmane Swajanaya Cha Anam Swam Vibhajan Pashyat
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam
Devarshi Pitribhutebhya Atmane Swajanaya Cha
Atmane Swajanaya Cha
Annam Sam Vibhajan
Anam Sam
Pashyat
Vibhajan Pashyat
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam.
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam Devarshi Pitra Bhutebhya Atmane Swajanaya Cha
Annam Sam Vibhajan Pashyat
Anam Swam Vibhajan Pashyat
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam
Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam. Is that everybody? Do you have a chance?
Devarshi Pitribhutebhya
Devarshi Pitra Bhutebhya Atmane Swajanaya Cha Anang Samvivajan Pashet Sarvam Tat Purushatmakam. Okay, Deva, unto the demigods. Rishi, saintly persons. Pitri, forefathers. Bhutebhyaha, the living entities in general. Atmane, relatives. Swajanaya, family members and friends. Cha, and anam, foodstuff. Prasada, samvibhajan, offering. Pashet, one should see. Sarvam, all. Tat, them. Purusha Atmakam, related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. One should offer prasad. Should we do it together? We already read it with the student. One should offer prasad to the demigods, the saintly persons, one's forefathers, the people in general, one's family members, one's relatives, and one's friends, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Haribol. Jai. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and charaded out by us. And okay, why not? As mentioned above, it is recommended that everyone distribute prasad, considering every living being a part and of the Supreme Lord.
Flat, line, equal, line,
Same place.
inclined,
Straight.
level, stable.
Equal.
Cut.
Give me E, V, even. Thank you. How sharp we are. Even in feeding the poor, one should distribute prasad. In Kali Yuga, there's a scarcity of food almost every year, and thus philanthropists spend lavishly to feed the poor. For this, they invent the term Daridra Narayan Seva. This is prohibited. One should distribute sumptuous prasad, considering everyone a part of the Supreme Lord. But one should not juggle words to make a poor man Narayan. Every is related to the Supreme Lord. But one should not mistakenly think that because
One.
is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has become the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Such a Mayavad philosophy is extremely dangerous. Michael Jackson, especially for a devotee. This is his song, right? Okay. For Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore strictly
Defend. Kill.
forbidden, you know, the skull thing, okay? Forbidden, that's a new one for me. Forbidden us to associate with Mayavadi philosophers. Mayavadi Basha Shunile, Haya Sarvanash. If one associates with the Mayavad philosophy, his devotional life is doomed. Jai Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Pranamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pujari Nirvishesha Sugyavadi Paschachari Shatarini. Hare Krishna. So then the discussion here, directions from Narada Muni, are to say that we have an obligation to do prasadam. Now, one instruction that Prabhupada gave to the devotees in Montreal, because he spent some weeks there in '68 to work on his visa, he actually said, people here should have lots of prasadam. Devotees need to offer them prasadam, you know. I don't know what was totally behind that, why he emphasized Montreal, but he did. Okay, so we understand that Brahmins are to be honored, and of course here there's something about demigods. We don't rule out demigods. In fact, chapter 3 from Bhagavad Gita, you can check it out. There is a situation where you have to at least be nice to the devatas, the providers of the produce. And one of the major produces is annam, anna. Anna means grain, right? What are the grains that are out there? What grains do we like? Wheat? What else? What, rice? What else?
Millets.
Millets, okay. Millets, is it a grain? I'm not sure about that one.
No, we eat it on the Kaddish.
Yeah, so it's not. It's not. Okay, buckwheat is not even a wheat. And wild rice, which grows in Canada, also is not a grain. So you can eat it on the Kaddishi. All right. Any other grains do you like? Someone's trying to speak there, mechanically. What's another grain that grows even in Canada? What's that? What did you say?
Bajra.
Bajra? All right, whatever. Okay, all right. How about oats? Is that oats? Okay, you said oats. Okay. Oats are not for the goats. So, saintly persons are to be delivered prasadam, one's forefathers, people in general, and one's family members, one's relatives, one's friends. This is the list, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you've got prasadam, and you've got the recipient, you know. You've got the object, which is being served, and it's spiritual. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir, Brahmagnai Brahmana Hutam. Can you look that one up? We did it once before. It's an important verse in the Gita. And some people, some of our Hindu friends, they recite this verse before they eat prasadam. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir. Havir. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir. Brahmagnai. Okay, the reason why we're bringing this up, if somebody could bring that up there, it would be very good. Because Brahma, the word Brahma appears 4 or 5 times in that shloka, spiritual. So if you got a spiritual person and he's taking food and spiritualizing it and then giving to a recipient who then becomes spiritual, you have everything gets transcendentalized, Krishnaized or spiritualized. This is a nice verse, Prabhus. You should all learn, you know, it's great, you know. Here, shall we, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir, Brahmagnau Brahmana Hutam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyang Brahma Karma Samadhina. And then we'll get the translation. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Okay, so it's very clear here, the process of prasadam. That's why some people chant this verse before, prasadam, but more in a localized way, and on our disciplic succession, which is highly influenced by the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. We have Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song, Sharira Vijajal, which everyone very religiously chants in the morning before they take their prasadam. Okay, I hope so. Okay, so this is the big deal. Prasadam is the big, it's one of our angles. It's one of our ways to share Krishna consciousness. And I got the shocking news just yesterday that devotees in Bangladesh have been doing an amazing job of serving prasadam to the public for many, many, many years. And just recently, people are warned, the public is warned, that we are terrorists. We've been given that title. Isn't it something? So when only devotees were trying to do is feed the poor. And you know, I mean, everyone is really poor if you don't take prasadam. Doesn't matter how sumptuous is your food. You're still poor. You're not rich in life if there's no prasadam there. We can talk about the glories of prasadam forever and ever. I have one god brother who clearly said, and he's quite an intelligent fellow from the States, he joined because of prasadam. That's why he became a devotee. He was a hippie, and he loved the food, and then he became a happy because of prasad. So it's magical. And Prabhupada did say it's our best weapon, it's our best ammunition, is prasadam. That's what people like so much about us. We're known for distributing this prasadam. And who does it go out to? Well, almost everyone on the list here. Did you all hear the story about one grihastha? He got married, and he asked Prabhupada, so now that I've, gotten married, Prabhupada, what is the thing that I should take note of? And Prabhupada said, now what you do is a grihastha goes out in the nighttime on his doorstep, front doorstep, and makes a loud announcement and said, is there anyone who has not yet eaten food? Well, like in the case of prasadam. And if people come forward, then Haribol, giving class, I'll call you back, is that okay? Devotees here want to say Haribol to you. Haribol! Jai Haribol. That's to Niagara Falls. Okay, so what happened is, if anyone comes forward, man or animals, you're obliged to feed them, okay? And then you eat after that. That's the sacrifice that a grihastha performs. So get ready, anybody who's going to be a grihastha, you can't just get in the front of the line. You're at the end of the queue. Just take note of that, okay? You learn sacrifice really hard. So that devotee was informed by Prabhupada about this. Okay, now a day passed, and the devotee who got married, he actually anticipating that Prabhupada would go a little deeper with his question. And so he asked Prabhupada again, maybe he juggled the words around a little bit. So Prabhupada, can you tell me a little bit more about what a grihastha, what I'm supposed to be taking note of? And he said, when you were a grihastha, you go to the front door and you call out to the people, says, there is anyone or any creature that has not yet eaten. And if no one comes forward, then you eat. But before that, you feed them. So Prabhupada gave the same answer to the same person, putting an emphasis on the point that this is what you're supposed to be doing as an obligation, which is to give. To give, 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 give. That's what grihasthas are all about. So here's the trick. Like, you think, now I can accumulate more and more. I can like hoard, or I get a chance to really build up my empire. But the Shastra says you're supposed to give a good percentage of it out. There might not be any crumbs left after you feed everybody else. So that's the trick, isn't it? Maybe it seems like it's a dichotomy of sorts, It seems to be double standard, in terms of instructions. But it's very clear from the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita that a grihastha is supposed to perform acts of charity. And one of the best things he can do is offer food. Yes, food, food, food. And that's what everybody is so much crazy about. Now, Prabhupada also puts a little time in to discuss about another concept, which is Daridra Narayan Seva. Now this is probably a little more common in Bengal because some people say Poor Narayan. So it's kind of an oxymoron. Do you know what that means? Oxymoron. Oxymorons, when you take two kind of contradictory concepts and try to put them together. Like on Danforth Avenue, they have a pub, it's called Noah's Tavern. Okay, now doesn't that sound kind of odd? Noah, in the Jewish tradition, or the Old Testament tradition, is supposed to be like one of their great saints. The leader of the whole Jewish movement is Noah, He was a saintly guy, and he was the guy that arranged for the ark, and he got all the animals on there, and a great storm came for 7 days and 7 nights, and then, and everything else was devastated because the world, kind of like a Shiva thing, the time of devastation, everything just gets flushed out, and then whatever's left was those animals, and then they all came out of the ark. So, and that was Noah's doing. Noah knows what he's doing, all right? And so that is the case with Noah, but to say Noah's tavern, if Noah was some kind of saintly person, do you really want to slap the word tavern onto that saint? That's what I mean by oxymoron, right? So Narayan is God. It's the name of God. Narayan means, this is the most beautiful definition from all of the books that I've ever heard from Prabhupada. Maybe you want to write this down. Narayan means the resting place of the aggregate total of all living beings. Do you want to write that down? Narayana. Of course, the word Nara refers to, humans, but there's an implication that it's referring to all souls. So here's the translation in case you missed some of the words. The resting place of the aggregate total of all living beings or living entities. So we're talking about Narayan, who's got everybody, he's pregnant with everybody, all living entities, and they get released, they get discharged. I don't know if Narayan has labor pains, probably not. But, that's part of what he does as part of the whole cyclic program of things being released and then brought back in, much like a spider releases webs and then brings it back in. Yeah. So Prabhupada makes the point, it's very offensive to say Narayan is Daridra, which means poor. How can Narayan be poor when his wife is Lakshmi? When she's got all the goods, how can he be poor? I don't believe that Narayan and Lakshmi Devi ever think about separating or have talks about divorce with each and go to a lawyers for the divorce. I don't think that's going to happen. The chances are very slim that would happen. It's like an insult, and it's another offense, Narayan. Now, the reason why it is really offensive is because some people want to be qualified, some so-called sadhus want to qualify everyone as being Narayan. But no, you're not Narayan. You may be a devotee of Narayan. Narayan may be inside of you, but you are not Narayan. In the famous prayer by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that we sing, Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam, he sings in one of the shlokas, he says that you treat the Guru like God. So the Guru may be like God, but is not God. Let's make a distinction. And I think it was before I left for Buenos Aires, I think we were talking about that one day, that Prabhupada once was really shocked and he was really scared about the movement, and he called all his GBC men, so it was after 1970, because that's when he formed the governing body commissioners in Los Angeles. So he called all his senior men over to where he was staying at the time, so they all flew. It's very expensive. And here's what was on his mind. And he was very concerned. He said, do you know what they're saying about me? And perhaps some of the devotees caught up on what was going on, the gossip or whatever. And he said, they're saying that I'm Krishna, that I'm God. And he took real offense to that, some people might be in honor. I'm God, yeah, hey, thanks, yeah, I'm glad to recognize my worth, But a person who's very honest with himself or herself will say, I am not God. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set the standard. Some people are saying he's Vishnu, because there are some predictions that were pulled out of the Bhagavatam, There's this Gopal Bhatta Prabhu and others. and who found these verses that would qualify him. More particularly, the one in the later canto, which is Krishna Varnyam Tusha Krishnam. Do you know that one? Let's look it up from the Bhagavatam. I think it's really important to note. You guys are all going to learn this shloka. Krishna Varnyam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangrasya Parashadam Yagyai Sankirtana Parayayar Rejantihi Sumedhasaha. So if we can get that on the screen, that'd be nice. Krishna Varnam. Okay. Krishna Varnam Tvaya Trisha Krishnam. So here we're talking about dark Krishna, which means the dark Lord, and Akrishnam. And he's talking about, the prediction was this, that in Kali Yuga, the Lord will come, and people who are intelligent, Sumedasa, they will be recognizing this Akrishnam, this light-skinned Krishna, same Krishna. He would be accompanied by, let's say, his weapons, because usually Narayan has weapons. You know, we talked about that the other day. Most notably the chakra, right? And the other one is the gada, right? So the astras are his sangha. What sangha? Who are we talking about here? Well, there's 4 guys that are with him, that Krishna, and they're his weapons. And we're talking about most notably Nityananda, not you, and because you were looking at me at that. Who else? Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Of course, there were other, he had lots of sanghas, and that they became his army. And what would they do? They would do doing yajna, sacrifice. Everybody knows that word. There's 2 words that start with a Y that we're supposed to be really absorbed in. Yajna and yoga, right? Okay, Sankirtan. Kirtan is in the Bhagavad Gita. Does anybody know where it is found, the word kirtan in the Bhagavad Gita? Satatam? Yeah, that's right. Satatam Kirtan. It's in chapter 9. We should know that bhajan, the word bhajan, the word kirtan, and japa, they're all in the Bhagavad Gita. So nobody made it up. These practices that we execute. Kirtan means glorification of the Lord. That's what it means. And sang, this part is like a prefix, right? And it means that everyone together does this kirtan together, just like we did upstairs. And we were going around the pillars and all that, having lots of fun. That was a short one. Again, so Sumedasa, intelligent people will pick up on this kind of Hindu piety. Has anybody ever looked at those, just when you go up to Govinda's washroom upstairs? There's 2 statements. Murli Manohar, how are you? I'm doing okay, but I'll finish my class here in 20 minutes. Is that okay? 20 minutes is okay? But everybody here in the class wants to say Haribol to Guelph. Hare Krishna. This guy's an angel. Okay. So what were we saying? Kirtan, glorification. Everyone together, Sankirtan. Like an army. That's the real army. And we don't need to, get our weapons out. We don't need to sticks and stones will break my bones, that kind of stuff. We don't need to do any of those things. We just come and we recognize the enemy. The enemy is inside. Right? The enemy is really outside, not outside. That's where our philosophy kind of varies from other spiritual traditions. Now, I was talking back about one of the plaques upstairs, yeah. On the right-hand side is a quote by Professor Joseph T. O'Connell, and he's our dear friend from many years ago. He used to teach at the U of T. He was fluent in Bengali language. You know, he knew it all. He studied Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thoroughly and Guru Nanak and all that time. He was a very nice man. He was really quite wonderful, and he was very brilliant. And he got to meet Prabhupada. So anyways, you look at that plaque and he said the Hare Krishna movement is the most recent phase of piety. How did he put it? From India. Phase of piety from India. He didn't even use the word Hindu or anything like that. But you have to understand that is the ultimate piety. To be pious means to be very holy. And the most holy thing you can do is to chant Krishna's name, and not only just chant, but share it with it. There's part 2 to it. Part 1, part 2. Isn't that what they always do? Avatar part 1, Avatar part 2, something like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but they always do that. It's just to make money. That's right. The first one made money, so they will put a sequel to it. Does anybody know David Lean? He was one of the best movie directors ever. He did Dr. Zhivago, and does anybody, you know Dr. Zhivago?
Yes.
It's about the Russian Revolution, right? Oh, and about that, a lot of it was filmed in Canada, in Saskatchewan. You know, because Siberia, Russia, it looks like Canada in the winter. You know, it's like, yeah. So, anyways, he made a statement. He said all these, part 1, part 2, or is that they're just making money. So when you have a masterpiece, that's great. Keep it isolated. You don't have to have a sequel to it. Okay, so we just have to understand that our purpose is to share, and the biggest share, one of the best of all, that gets people interested to the next level, the books, the chanting, okay? Oftentimes it starts with prasadam. I was in Paris once with the devotees there, and we were at the Eiffel Tower, and we were distributing prasadam. Of course, it wasn't appropriately done, and this is a lesson to be learned. They made halava and they put it into squares, but it was just on a tray and it was very open. So a police officer came and said, you can't do that. That's not hygienic enough, It has to be packaged. You have to see what the ingredients are. And I was just coming, it was my first time to Paris ever. And I had been flying, and the devotees took me there. I was flying, I was tired, and they took me there, so I was in a van with the devotees, and I was sleeping like this. And here it is, Maharaj. So then I saw the Eiffel Tower, and I went like this. Does that look like the Eiffel Tower, sort of? Yeah. So maybe whoever is the sculptor intended to go namaste. Yeah. So people are becoming a little more pious now because of the prasadam, and Govindas is a big deal for us, I mean, whatever we do on Sunday is more of an in-house thing, but we need to more publicly, the people come from, our neighbors have expressed to us they like the food and everything like that. So it's a big deal for them. That's how you make friends, through the stomach. And the other one is chanting, the sound. Some people are attracted to the sound. Sometimes we don't sound so good, so some people go like this. Have you ever seen that before? When the kartals are just too loud, they go, oh, like this. And that means they probably are too loud. I personally think that the percussion, the drums are a little more attractive to people. It gets them rocking, But when it comes to the kartals, it's sometimes too much for them, and especially if it's amplified. So we have to be careful. We want to make it attractive. And the other attraction is the philosophy. Some people will go for, what we have to say philosophically, because it is deep and it is rich, So that cannot be denied. I guess this verse was chosen. Who chooses these verses anyways?
This is the standard curriculum in all Krishna houses.
Krishna houses. How many Krishna houses do we have now?
6, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm glad to know that, to be informed. What kind of a day is this? Haribol, Hare Krishna. I'm just giving a class and I'll be finished in about 25 minutes. Okay, all right, Hare Krishna. Okay, oh, I forgot, oh, we didn't, should I call her back? And Haribol. Because I'm telling you, she needs it. Is that okay? So while we are, this is Madri, okay? So we'll just call her back and say, because that's what we're supposed to do, distribute the holy name, right? Prashadam, and what was the other one?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Yes, this is Bhakti Mark Swami, and I forgot to let you receive a Haribol from all the students here at this point. Is that okay? Can they say Haribol to you? To give
Yes,
a nice
of course.
cheer up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Haribol! And we'll do another one. Haribol Madri. Haribol Madri! We love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So we are a charitable organization. We're a charitable culture. And it starts, for the Grastas. They've got the money. The brahmacharis don't. So the nyasis are not supposed to. But Hare Krishna, what are you laughing about? And so I'm glad you like that remark. And but sannyasis are given Lakshmi so they can do their services to Prabhupada, as long as you don't hoard it. But we are supposed to be delivering the grahastas, collect funds so that they can take care of their family and also take care of people in general. People in general, that's our job. That's the ISKCON, that's the Hare Krishna movement. And if people don't get won over by those 3 acts alone, and how about, when you have whose birthday's coming up, by the way? Who's saying my birthday?
What?
Money.
December.
Really?
December the 8th? Keep it in mind. Hey, to work it on. Bake a cake, start going at it. Okay, so, they say put cream, icing on it, on the cake, and then a cherry on top. So the cherry on top of all this that we're doing, the book distribution, which is we're in the thick of it now, right? The prasadam distribution, which we're doing regularly through Govindas, and also the chanting of Krishna's name. What really tops it all off is when you deliver it with love and kindness. You got to be nice to the people who are out there. You got to be really, really sweet. Sugar and spice and everything's nice. Okay, good. So I think the man who's guarding the clock is letting us know. And by the way, those plaques behind you, they need to be straightened out, okay, Prabhu? Yeah. Yeah, it's like that every day practically. Yeah. Okay, do we have any questions or comments? We tried to stick to the theme. Go ahead.
Maharaj, in some of the translations it was mentioned that we should offer prasadam to our forefathers too. But as soon as the soul leaves one body, based on good and karma, they get another body.
Yeah, but some of those bodies, some of those souls are left suspended in a place we call Pitri-loka. I was raised Catholic, so they called it purgatory. And I'm sure probably the Catholics got the idea from the Vedas. Pitri-loka. When Hayagriva and his support team were trying to translate that, they saw planet of the trees. That Prabhupada's accent was such that they didn't get it right. Planet of the trees. But it's where the Pitris or Pitrus live. So and that's why the BBT had to go through everything again because mistakes were made like that. It's kind of silly, planet of the trees. But Pitri means people who are your ancestors, your forefathers, those who were before you. Therefore, it's called forefathers. And so they're in some cases suspended. They haven't yet gain enough pious credits. You know, what do we call it? They don't have enough punya to be able to get liberated. So therefore we help them. We help sustain them by offering them nice prasadam. Okay? It's called pinda. Yeah, you had, you with the saffron.
Yeah, yes, Maharaj. So Maharaj, again I was wondering about the same thing that Gopal ever mentioned about celebrating the Shraddha ceremony, because
The Shraddha ceremony?
yeah, because usually I've never seen somebody doing it, and in Bhagavad Gita we are saying that whoever worships ancestor goes to them.
Well, it does happen in our temples. Now, Prabhupada didn't elaborate on it too much, to my knowledge. He really didn't. But it does happen in our temples, like people from our community that come here. And there's this one family, every year they give me, sweatpants and a hoodie. So you can imagine why we have so many in the costume room upstairs. So they come in and they come and give food as well.
Yeah.
Like, the champion for that was Ramananda Roy, our devotee, Ramananda, who lives in Marga, I believe. You know him, right?
Yeah.
He always invites, I want some of the boys to come, He wants some of the he wanted the devotees from the temple to come to his house so he could honor that, You're supposed to feed the Brahmins, so to speak, So they're nice gestures. We shouldn't necessarily discourage those kind of things. It's not a good thing to do, to say, you don't need to do that. You're a debtor to no one, and you can quote the verse, well, I'm serving Krishna wholeheartedly with my heart and soul. I have no debt to pay to anybody. So if you get fanatical about it, it would mean don't ever call your parents because they're urine and stool. You're like, that kind of stuff sometimes comes up, when you misread or misunderstand. So Shraddha is a time which coordinates with usually late summer, right? Early fall. So it's really is a good time for giving, harvest time, And so that's the mood that people are in. Mother Earth has given me Krishna has given me all these goods. So I can't keep them all. Anybody who has an apple tree, I can't eat all these apples. It's just one tree. So you want to give them to your neighbors. And we give them to family. So it's a nice gesture, it really is. It shouldn't be discouraged. Okay, and so you had your hand up, yeah.
So talking about prasadam, there's a lot of joy in cooking and serving, and especially if they're no discrimination, but especially if they're devotees, it's again like more joyful. But so there are some people who would not want to cook or feed, and it's not like they have any scarcity or they're poor, but it's just that maybe they did not learn that, maybe they didn't see their parents doing it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
What does it tell about their consciousness?
Well, it's just they're just unfortunate in their karma because they never saw it. It wasn't part of their tradition. So it's just a little bit unfortunate. But that's why it's good to become a member of the Bhakti Academy. I'm putting a pitch in for you, you know that, right? That you learn these things. You learn all these details, That's why a lot of the students that come here are young people that come for the kirtan, which is great, but if they don't go for the, let's say, the balance of the program, then they're missing out on a few things, Like we know that the first immigrants, the first roll of immigrants from India, they know a lot of these things. They know you must donate to the temple, give to the sannyasis, the priests, and so on like that. And they know about that. But their kids are not being trained. That's not going on in the schools. I guarantee you 100%. I don't think there's any Mr. Smith or anybody out there who's a professor or a teacher says, now you must all give in charity to the Brahmins. Nowhere in Canada do they teach
I don't
that.
think even in India that's the case.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
So they're losing it. even in India, they're just not teaching Sanskrit like they used to, and it's just deteriorating. So, therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is the most important mission in the world right now. We're building temples all over the place. We're doing kirtan all over the place. We need to expand ourselves here in Canada. We need to be let people be known of all these great treasures that we have. Yeah. I mean, things like trying to go down, touch the feet of some senior or something like that. That's is not known by a second generation. They don't think maybe parents will do that. Modern parents in India, they don't train it necessarily, do they? Some cases, yes. Some cases, no. And the old, in the Gandhi movie from '84, has anybody ever seen that before? Gandhi? Ben Kingsley, he's one of the best. They have, when he's in South Africa, and he has 2 boys, 2 sons, and they come, Papa, they say Papa, they put their heads down to his feet, which is, a natural part of the tradition. They have something like that with the Italians too. The kids go and kiss the feet of their grandparents and that kind of stuff. Yeah, these are nice, beautiful gestures. They make a big, big difference. As I was just in, of course I've been to Spain, I was just in Buenos Aires, and people just kiss on the will. Everybody. They do that to everybody if they know somebody. Nice gestures that make you feel safe, isn't it? When you have good food, you feel safe, isn't it? And when you have nice music around, you feel safe, and when there's some wisdom that's floating around and being exercised, then you feel even safer. Safe, safer, safest. Fist. Okay, safest. Anything else, Bruce? Because I think that Raj is going to let us know the truth of this moment. Okay. Okay, thank you. We hope that it was helpful what we talked about today. And I'm going to give my garland out to anybody who's, I guess, this was offered to somebody. I don't know who. Okay, I'll just shoot it out there. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. I should be spun around so I won't show favoritism. Oh, really? Okay. Haribol. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Oh my God! Wow!